Welcome to Mouthful. I'm Lori Lynn Barker. Mouthful is a podcast about food, culture, and the makers in the world. On this episode, I'm talking with Sammy Kestenbaum, CEO of That's How We Roll and Parm Crisps. Mouthful is sponsored by ccfdocumentation.com. Let CCF develop your e-learning or instructional video training. From training assessment to course creation and LMS administration, CCF is your one-stop training resource. Check them out at ccfdocumentation.com. If you are like me, you love crunchy, salty snacks. I also love chocolate, but I have a tendency to lean more towards the crunchy and salty. But sometimes you want something a little healthier. You don't want your typical potato chip, or you don't want a Cheeto, which I will never say I don't want a Cheeto. But when you're trying to watch what you put in your body, sometimes you are looking for a healthy alternative. Well, I have a great suggestion for you. It's Parm Crisp, and they're these little crackers that are made out of melted cheese. They are just insanely delicious. And the good thing about them is they're keto friendly. That's a big score. I went to the source to find out more about these delicious snacks. On this episode, I dive into what Parm Crisps are. I'm talking to Sammy Kestenbaum, CEO of That's How We Roll, makers of Parm Crisps and other tasty snacks. Tell people what Parm Crisps are.
Parm Crisps are amazing. They are 100%
They are.
cheese, 100% cheese that we bake into a crisp. And the way that I like to explain that to people is that burnt cheese that you get when you toast something, and that's what a Parm Crisp is.
And they're amazing. What makes Parm Crisps so special?
So a couple of things. First of all, they taste great. Now, everyone always asks me, what's the secret? What's the secret? The secret is you got to have great tasting products. And Parm Crisps really is that. And I love cheese. And Parm Crisps is 100% Parmesan cheese. We use some of the most premium cheese that you can buy, all sourced in the United States, actually out of Wisconsin. And, you know, they're great because they're functional. They're great because they keep you full. 9 grams of protein, no carbs, no sugar, keto. They're really kind of the way the world is going today.
And how was this idea born?
Sure. So Atkins, which depending on how old your listeners are, Atkins is basically the old version of keto. And I was on Atkins and needed a snack, and was sick of eating bacon and pork rinds and fried cheese. And one day just started putting cheese on a sheet on a pan and baked it, and out came this deliciously crunchy snack that had 0 carbs, and I could eat as much as I want of it. And it was such a great change to just the other snacks that I was eating at the time on Atkins, because, like I said at the beginning, these things they don't taste good. So having something that gave me that satisfying crunch of a potato chip, all of the flavor of a potato chip, but none of the carbs and none of the kind of the bad stuff that goes along with it.
Well, I know Anthony Bourdain was really big on that concept, the fried cheese Parmesan crisp. If you ever watched any of his shows, and he was in Italy, it was almost like a quest. He would try to find the perfect fried parm cracker, or whatever you'd like to call it. So he was really into Parm Crisp also.
It's funny that you bring him up, because, you know, we look at this as a very culinary brand. We love to make pairings, and my favorite way to eat a Parm Crisp today is actually on pizza. And people look at me very strange, but if you think about it, people that eat pizza use Parmesan cheese, grated cheese all the time. And by adding a Parm Crisp, you actually add a great crunch to it. Mm-hmm. So my favorite way to eat it is on a sandwich. When I was a kid, I used to put potato chips on my
Potato chips, right?
Right? And it gives you that great crunch factor. But now I put Parm Crisps on my Italian heroes, or Italian subs, depending on what part of the country you live in. And you get not only the great texture and crunch, but you add tremendous flavor to it. And I think that's what really separates Parm Crisps from the other snacks out there, is it's really kind of the best of all worlds.
On your website, you also give the idea of putting it on top of French onion soup.
So we have contests at the office actually all the time, and somebody brought in instead of breaded chicken, they made keto chicken. and used Parm Crisps as that bread coating. Somebody put it one day on a burger. They were having a barbecue, and they came in, and they brought a burger in, and they said, "Oh, my God, look at this." And they made a French onion burger, which I thought was just outstanding. But, it goes back to it gets your creative juices flowing because it's just such a versatile product.
And I bet they're awesome with fruit.
They're great with fruit. You use it on a cheese plate, a charcuterie board. We make Parm Crisps in two different sizes. So one is great for just snacking out of the bag as you're watching a movie or Netflix, and the other way we make it is in a tub or in a clamshell, and the way that you use that is like cheese. So you put that on your charcuterie board. You're serving it at a party. You can top it like a cracker, and that's where we came up with the name Carbless Cracker. Because it solves that problem for the consumer that doesn't want carbs, but you can use it as a cracker, you can use it as a topping, you can crumble it on a salad, or you can eat it right out of the tray.
And what flavors do they come in?
So we make 100% Parmesan is our original flavor, and then we just launched our newest flavor, which is sour cream and onion, which is out of this world. But we offer this product in sour cream and onion, in pizza. Jalapeno is one of my favorite. I like a little kick. So I'm a big jalapeno fan, and we make it in a 4-cheese, a sesame. We have and 3 new flavors coming out this year that we're so excited about.
And where are these made?
So we make them all ourselves. We have a phenomenal new plant out in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, in Amish country. And believe it or not, a lot of your snacks that you may eat are made in Pennsylvania. And we are just opening up that factory in the first quarter of 2020. And we're going to employ almost 100 people out of there with all U.S.-made equipment. So contributing to the economy. And one of my favorite parts of my job, actually, is managing these people, because you really get to know them and you really get to understand how hardworking they have to be to work in a food manufacturing facility and how dedicated they are to the quality and safety. I'm always amazed that candidly, I was at the plant last week, and I had forgot to walk out with my beard net on, and one of the people on the line yelled at the CEO of the company because I was not doing what I was supposed to do. I didn't argue. I smiled. I said, "Thank you," and I put on the beard net.
There you go.
She was right.
Where can people find Parm Crisps?
So Parm Crisps are available nationwide. They're available in almost anywhere that you would buy a snack. And whether that's a 7-Eleven or whether that's a Target or a Whole Foods, we're national at all of these accounts, and they've been great partners for us, helping to grow our brand and really reaching to those consumers. And, of course, you could find us on Amazon or through our website, parmcrisps.com, or any of our Facebook, social, or Instagram pages.
How long do they last? What's the shelf life?
So one of the best things about Parm Crisps is it's a shelf-stable product, which means it doesn't need to be refrigerated. And from the day that we manufacture a Parm Crisp, turn that Parm, all we do is we grind cheese and we oven bake it. From that day, you get 1 year to use the product. And again, you can put it in your gym bag. You can take it with you in the car. It's not something that you have to be kind of tied to a refrigerator for.
They look absolutely amazing, and they are absolutely amazing. And I know from experience that if you do go to your local store and they don't have them, you can ask the store to bring them in.
Yeah, that's the great thing about retail still today. You get that personal touch to it. Personally, I still do a lot of my shopping in a grocery store instead of online. I like to touch and feel my food and smell my fruit. I think that's a big part of the experience. But certainly, if you ask, we are available almost anywhere at this point.
Well, give your website so people can look up more information.
Yeah, our website is www.parmcrisp.com. And our marketing group has just done a phenomenal job bringing, recipe ideas and concepts or helping you. One of the hardest things that I always had, I've been on a diet my entire life, a little overweight, or at least it feels like it. And one of the things I always struggle with is solutions, right? I like a potato chip. How can I have a Parm Crisp? Or I'm eating a salad. One of the most amazing things is when you get a salad and it's a 1,500 calorie salad. But the reason I'm eating it is because I'm trying to, make smarter choices and be healthy. And then people top it with, croutons or tortilla strips. So you get great recipe concepts, which is very important for us as a brand to help develop just the category. We are the original. We were the first ones ever to launch any type of cheese crisp. So we take great pride in that, but also we have a responsibility to help the consumer understand, and your listeners will know this, help them understand how to use this product and help them understand what the benefits of those products are.
You're very active in food trends. Tell me what the next food trend is, or what are the hottest food trends right now?
Sure. But it's not just Parm Crisp. I think the way that we look at that is functional food. So everyone knows that people are snacking more and eating less. Most people now have two-income houses, and we're all trying to figure out how to get through our day and home in time to cook dinner or what to do for dinner. So eating snacks that what I call high satiety, snacks that keep you full, snacks that provide energy and not just empty calories or empty carbs. So using Parm Crisps as that example, right, you're getting that functional food, you're getting that protein, you're getting the fat that keeps you full and is good for a keto lifestyle. So those what I call functional foods have become extremely important in the way that we live our lives. I have two little kids. I have two beautiful girls, 6 and 4, and they snack a ton. But for me, it's about their snacking and buying things that they'll eat that I could eat too without feeling terrible about it. So on the go is going to continue to expand significantly. And then I think you can't ignore the plant-based movement that is going on. I read somewhere yesterday that the fast food industry has helped save about 250,000 cows with all the plant-based products that they're offering.
I didn't read that.
So I see that. It's a crazy number if you think about it. But I think that when you look at plant-based and where it's going, I think the technology is just now getting to the point where they can make plant-based food taste good for everybody. So I see that expanding as well. And then we have a sister company that I'll give a little shout out to called From the Ground Up, and they make cauliflower crackers and vegetable-based snacks. And with gluten-free pretzels that are cauliflower-based and cassava-based. And I see vegetables being incorporated more and more into everyone's diet to go along with those functional foods that we talked about before. When I started my career, I worked for the largest natural organic products company in the world, a company called the Hain Celestial Group. And I worked on the Earth's Best baby food brand, which I don't know if you have children, but Earth's Best is a household name in baby. And what I learned was there is no more brand loyal, educated consumer than a new mom. So I think working those vegetables into everyday eating, right, is something that new moms are trying to figure out, and parents of toddlers, get off the mac and cheese, right? How am I going to supplement that? So I think vegetables and From the Ground Up has just done a tremendous job in this space, being first to market in a cauliflower cracker and cauliflower snacks. That's going to continue to grow as time goes on.
Well, I think there's such a misconception. I think people think healthy. They think that they have to eat, let's say, a raw piece of cauliflower. And it's been proven you can kind of do whatever you want to the cauliflower. The nutritional value still comes through.
Yeah, I don't use the term healthy because what's healthy to me is different than what's healthy to you. And I think that it's important to understand that not everyone's needs are the same. And sure, we should all eat more vegetables, but to your point, that doesn't mean it has to be boring. That doesn't mean you have to be miserable while you're eating it. Find fun and exciting ways to change and make small changes in your life. And I think that's what, at the end of the day, that's what makes me successful when I do diet, or it's not just eating for a certain way because it's the beginning of New Year's and you get 2 weeks of New Year, New You. It's about what can I realistically do to make small changes that will just allow me to make better choices. And that's how, when we think about new products, that's a lot of the time how we think of it.
And to go back to your point, with something like a Parm Crisp, or even it's called From the Ground Up. Stuff like that, that's an easy change you can make, because I am a crispy, I need something, crispy and crunchy in my mouth. And if I go for a Parm Crisp, probably a lot better than just, say, an over-the-counter potato chip.
Oh yeah, and look, sugar's become the new smoking.
Right.
A lot of people are leaving sugary foods, and salty is growing. And now it's okay. We've gotten people off sugar. How do we now get them into to pay attention to their carbs?
Right.
And again, eat a more balanced diet. My kids eat mac and cheese. My kids eat pizza, but they don't eat it often. Mm-hmm. And we try to limit it.
And we're not preaching. We're just saying these are just some ideas that you can, kind of point your diet in a healthy direction.
Absolutely. And look, I am the last person to preach because no one loves a piece of fried chicken more than me. Trust me. And donuts are like my kryptonite.
I know.
But I look at them, I smile, and I have to walk away. Or at least I try to.
Right. Well, and I don't know where they're out of, but we just started getting the franchise here, Crumble. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's a cookie place.
I'm not.
And it's kind of like a donut place, and they're open like from 10 in the morning to midnight. And the cookies are insane. They don't say vegan, they don't say gluten-free, they don't say sugar-free. I mean, they are just cookies. And so you're seeing that trend also. You're seeing uber healthy to let's see how much butter we can get in a cookie.
But I think that's the difference, at least I know for me, that's the difference of my weekdays versus weekends.
Right.
On the weekdays, I'm next to perfect.
Right.
And on the weekends is when I walk into Crumb and I'm eating
right.
3 of these cookies.
Well, you can try to eat 3 of them. I can almost guarantee you can't eat 3 of them. I love cookies. That's my kryptonite is cookies. And there's just no physical way I could eat 3 without just, not functioning for a couple of hours.
Oh, well, since you love cookies, I have to make a little bit of a selfish plug. We actually have another great brand called Thinsters, which is all about eating thin, crispy, deliciously crunchy cookies that are non-GMO and no corn syrup and all natural and better for you.
And I've had those.
While Crumb, oh, great.
And they're awesome.
Then you know.
Mm-hmm. They are awesome. What I liked about them is I think everybody kind of likes, I don't want to say a burnt cookie, but sometimes they just really like a crunchy cookie, and that's what we liked a lot about the Thinsters.
Yeah, I'd have to say the Thinsters brand has just been amazing to work on, and the evolution of it, and how, from a consumer standpoint, just how consumers are eating differently now. But you're right, there is still a place. They still want that sweet, indulgent treat. But even then, they want to make better choices. And you could have 5 Thinsters or 6 Thinsters compared to 2 Oreos. Mm-hmm. So you feel like you're just getting more bang for your buck, if you will.
And one thing I like about Thinsters, since you brought it up, is that they have cake thins. So if you like cake, you can get that flavor.
So the blueberry cake thin is actually my favorite cookie that we make. It is just great. It tastes just like the top of a crumb cake. That's how we designed it.
Oh my gosh!
So one day, it's actually a funny story. One day we were in an R&D lab and we were making all these different types of cakes and pastries to try to figure out what our next piece of innovation would be for the market. And we put the top of a crumb cake into a mold. And out came this just unbelievably cinnamony, crunchy, delicious cookie.
Like the top of
pretty cool.
Oh, I love that stuff. The streusel kind of crumble stuff that goes on top of
right.
a cobbler.
It's like if you're a Seinfeld fan, top of the muffin to you. It's top of the crumb cake.
Yeah, I think I probably went. In fact, I know I went for the chocolate chip because that's my thing. I love chocolate chip cookies.
If your listeners want, you guys can go to thinsters.com and see all of our great flavors. And again, it's about taste. Every one of our products, while it's natural, while it's better for you, while we use real butter and real sugar, not corn syrup and not oils, but at the end of the day, the product tastes great, and that's what we're here for.
And I did my research before I got on the air with you that a lot of, not a lot, but all of the products we mention are available in the King Soopers in my area. Can you tell me about That's How We Roll?
Well, everyone always asks where the name is because we get asked a lot. Are we a trucking company? Do we make bread and rolls?
Are you a music? It sounded like a song to me.
So we get actually emails from consumers all the time asking, and it's a great story where it came from. When we were starting the company, we had a relationship with a buyer for a big chain, in one of the largest retail chains in the country. And she says, you guys do such a great job, and you come up with ideas and you make things happen, and your execution is excellent. Every time I need something for you, it's there. You should, because that's how you roll. Wait, that should be the name of the company. That's how we roll. And I got to tell you, after 6 years of, we started this 6 years ago, and I never thought we'd have the success that we are in today, I still use that all the time. Someone will call me and said, you made the best product. How did you do that for, such low calorie? And I'll say, because that's how we roll. And we'll deliver a truckload of product to a retailer and hit an event that they weren't expecting. And how did you make that happen? Because that's how we roll.
That's how we roll.
Which is, I love it. But yeah, we created the company to provide better quality snacks to the average consumer. And I'm not a proponent of I call it sawdust. Things that might sell in a natural food store that just don't have any taste, but they sell because they're natural. We're not fans of that. With us, it's got to lead with taste, and then we back into making the product compliant for our standards.
Well, I don't know if you remember, I don't know why I vividly remember this, when the movement started to eat healthier. So that would be either gluten-free or you changed the type of flour that you're putting in things. I remember that the evolution of the pretzel was just absolutely nasty. And now we've got good pretzels, but you go from just a regular pretzel you would eat as a kid. And I'm like, okay, I love pretzels. I'm going to make the transition and try to get healthier with my pretzels. Oh, it was just, there was times I'd have them and I'm like, what did you just do to my pretzel? And I'd end up throwing them out, so I'm with you on the sawdust theory.
Well, I always say, and that's funny that you mentioned the pretzels, because gluten-free, over the last 15 years has been such a trend. And while gluten-free products every year continue to get better and better, and obviously Parm Crisps are 100% gluten-free, it's hard to find great tasting gluten-free products. Most gluten-free bread is better used as a hockey puck than than to eat. Right. And it's amazing after 15 years that product is still, these kind of products are still on the market. Because it fills a need for people. What we try to do is get them past that. So not only can people with celiacs and gluten intolerance eat gluten-free bread, but if we made a gluten-free bread, it would be first that everyone should eat it or can eat it or would like it. And oh, by the way, it happens to be gluten-free.
Right. That's a great way of looking at it. This is a really good bread. Oh, and by the way, it's gluten-free.
Right. But I want you to eat it. I want my kids to eat it, right? My kids will not eat gluten-free bread today because there just isn't a great one on the market.
No, there is not. And that's where I kind of like seeing the cauliflower movement coming in. I love cauliflower. I loved it as a kid. I love it as an adult. So when the whole, let's make crust out of it, let's make hummus out of it, let's, make crackers out of it, I was right on board. I was like, oh yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad
we make we make mashed cauliflower rice at least, once or twice a week in my house now. What we were talking about substitutes before. What a great substitute. Cauliflower rice instead of fried rice.
Right.
No carbs. You're getting your vegetables. It's a great, and it tastes great too.
Well, and it's so popular, isn't it? I believe Trader Joe's keeps selling out of theirs. And it's become like this commodity. Oh. Everybody's running to Trader Joe's as soon as they get the riced cauliflower in.
Yeah, no different again than that brand From the Ground Up that we talked about before. The brand, 2 years ago launched, and already they make tortilla chips and pretzels out of cauliflower and crackers and chips and all different types of products because it's so versatile, and the explosion that they've had has been, just like some of the cauliflower pizzas you're seeing today. It's one of the hottest trends in food.
The other thing I find interesting about From the Ground Up is they use butternut squash, which is also another favorite of mine.
Yeah, that's right. So it's the whole concept of how could they get real flavor and real food into everyday products, right? No different than we talked about before with that switching concept. why have at this stage in manufacturing, in this stage of what you can find and what you could buy, why eat a regular pretzel when you could eat something that you get vitamins and minerals from, or you can get less carbs from? There's just so many great choices out there to make.
Well, we threw out a lot of information, so I'm going to have you give out the websites that people can find the products at.
Sure. You can visit us at www.parmcrisps.com.
Yeah, and you encourage people to send pictures in to show how they're using their Parm Crisp in all of their recipes.
So that's one of my favorite concepts. But I'll tell you what touched me. Really quick story of something that touched me that came up last week. We had a consumer that emailed us, and we don't think about this on a regular basis because to us we make great tasting snacks, and that's what we're here for. But what touched me last week was we had a consumer that emailed us who had a daughter who had celiacs, had diabetes, was really having a hard time, had some food allergies, was really having a hard time with what to find snacks that she could eat at school and make her feel quote unquote normal. Because as we all know, we all went to high school, we all went to elementary school. Fitting in is such a big part of childhood, or the desire to fit in is such a big part of childhood. And mother was so thankful that we created a snack that her daughter could eat that wasn't full of carbs and loaded with sugar. And it said it changed her relationship with her classmates. It gave her a sense of pride to be able to walk in with a quote unquote normal snack. I almost cried. I thought that was so incredible because who knew that creating snacks could change someone's life? And
I bet all the kids want to trade her now. Hey, I want your Parm Crisps.
Well, that individual lived in Florida, so we sent them a bunch of coupons that the friends could go buy them in Publix.
Nice.
They shouldn't trade.
Nice. Well, thank you for being with me today, Sammy.
Yeah, I had a great time. Thanks so much.
Thank you to Sammy Kestenbaum with That's How We Roll. Look for Parm Crisp at your local store or go to their website, parmcrisp.com. The other websites that were mentioned in the episode are Thinsters.com for cookies, and that's Thinsters.com. And then for the cauliflower snack, please visit FromTheGroundUpSnacks.com. Mouthful is sponsored by CCF Documentation. Whether you want to train your employees or teach your customers how to properly use your equipment or product, or you're wanting to market your expertise to the world, online training is fast becoming one of the most sought-after forms of training in the business world today. Providing flexibility as well as consistency, e-learning will get your new hires or customers trained faster and with less resources. At CCF Documentation, we provide customized e-learning solutions geared to proactively and efficiently train your employees or customers with measurable training outcomes. To maximize your training effectiveness, contact CCF Documentation at ccfdocumentation.com. If you have a question or you'd like to be a guest on Mouthful, feel free to contact me at mouthfulthepodcast@gmail.com. I am also on all social media platforms, and you can also reach me at LoriLynnBarker@gmail.com. With Mouthful, I'm Lori Lynn Barker. Stay fresh, cheese bags.